You're both too young to even remember what I was talking about. The old days when you went to the theater, if they had a problem with the projector or something, they could always swing you over to a cartoon of one another, Bugs Bunny or Roadrunner or something, while they fixed their equipment. You remember those days, Doug?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Is that your red floozy hat up on your, you've got a light on the wall and there's a red hat with feathers on it.
Oh, heavens,
That,
yes. I didn't know that was in my, oh yeah, I see it now. I finally look up on my own. That is the leftover from my wife. Really, I'm borrowed time in this room.
oh,
This is more her office than mine.
I see.
She hasn't attended Red Hat in quite some time, so the hat's probably cool and lonesome. But
anything else?
isn't much of anything that's really going on that you can run out and attend right now.
I close that. Close it? Yeah, otherwise you get echo. Okay, and leave that alone. And now you're fine. All right. Okay, I'm all set. Sorry, guys. Oh, Bob Forrest said that he would be late today.
Okay. We can tune him in at any time. Do we have staff on? I don't see a little square for our staff.
She's not joined us yet, but I'm sure she'll be here shortly.
Well, we'll better wait. What there is, I've interrupted her a couple times today, so she's probably a little bit behind out of schedule. Hi, Dawn. I like the Dawn down on the bottom, a little insert picture. That's nice. That's nice.
Uh-oh. I just lost them all.
That's me, Bev. I put that up on the screen.
Okay. Are you, if we're all in order and we've already got a quorum, would you call the order and we'll conduct our meeting? I'll call the meeting to order and ask for Paula to conduct, have a roll call, please.
My apologies. Bev Aggie.
Present.
Forrest will be late. Eric Gleason.
Here.
Doug Leash.
Here.
Robert McNary.
Here.
Donnell Lawrence. Is absent. And Scott Randall is also absent.
Thank you. If you could get us back to the chamber, we have a flag and someone that needs a part in this. Bev, could you lead the Pledge of Allegiance today?
I'll do my best. Everyone chime in case I muck it up. I don't see the flag.
It's at the top.
There it is now. I got it center stage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I see it now. Okay. I pledge allegiance
To
To
the
the
flag
flag
of the United
United
States
States of America
and to the
and
republic for
republic
which it
to which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible, with
indivisible,
liberty
and justice
justice
for all.
Amen.
Amen.
I like that. That's a good way to end that. All right. Have everyone had a chance to peer over the agenda? And is there anything that someone would like to change to our agenda for this meeting? If not, I'd like to have someone make a motion that we approve the agenda. Don't leave me lonesome out here.
I move that we approve the agenda.
Thank you. Who would second that?
I second the motion.
Okay, well, now we got Doug seconding that. All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 All right, the agenda has been approved.
Excuse
Now we're
me,
going-
Chair McNary, did we lose Eric Gleason?
I did. I never know. I got 2 Dons, and I
I
don't know.
don't see
2
him.
Dons is equivalent of 1 Eric. I don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Where'd you go, Eric? You fall off your chair? We still got a quorum with 3, I think. Eric will be back. He got a technical problem. That's what they say, technical problem. I hadn't read my agenda very carefully. I don't know what all the qualifications on this next item in election of officers. Maybe Don, the staff could fill us in. How long a term do we serve for? And if there's any qualifications on any member to serve in any position.
So the way that we've been handling it is that we have election of officers at the first meeting of every year, of every calendar year. Anyone can serve. One suggestion that our director has asked, which I think you guys all get on here. So just make sure that the person, the chair and the vice chair, chair and the vice chair have availability. Availability to connect to services or Zoom services. Sorry about that. I've got some interactions back here. Anyway, so other than that, there is really, I mean, anybody is willing that wants to be nominated and or volunteer. We'll just take nominations and then you guys will vote on those nominations.
Anyone got any questions of Dawn on this qualification? She broke up in the middle of it, but I knew what she was trying to tell us. So where do we want to, and this is the consensus of the people that are sitting here, do we want to take in each individual office in its own and elect, or do we want to nominate people for that position and see how we come on each one and see whether we have anything more than a white paper and only have a white ballot and only have to take 1 vote. So, seeing this, guessing this, I'm opening nomination for the president of the Landmark Commission. And we will need a nomination in order to make this thing fly.
I would like to see Bob continue to do that.
And then we'll need a second.
I second it.
Okay, now, do we hear any other nominations for the presidency?
So it would actually be the chair, Bob. You're not the president, but
Sure.
I do like that. I do like that.
But I couldn't find it. I hope Paula can correct with her correct name. All right, then we go to a vice chair. I believe is the only other position that we have. Is that right, Don? So I think our vice chair now is Forrest. Is that correct? Okay, thank you. So in defense that he isn't here, we can still nominate him. And
Absolutely.
Serving white for not showing up.
I will make that nomination since we're down to a kind of a skeleton crew. Eric, get fixed and get back with us. I will nominate Forrest for the position of vice chair. I got the nomenclature right this time, Don.
I would second that nomination.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that we want to nominate for the vice chair position? Hearing none, I'm going to close the nominations. Now, my understanding of parliamentary procedure seems we only have 1 candidate running for each office. We can vote on them. It's a white ballot. And so all we need is votes to put these people in office. And I'm never going to understand our parliamentary procedure. But all in favor of Bob serving as chairman, please raise your hand.
Aye.
And I suppose I'm obligated to vote. Don, according to our rules. All right. Everyone in favor of Forrest serving as vice chair, raise your hand.
Oh.
Okay. My hand. Oh, it's over there. Okay, I was raising a little out of camera range. All right, so I think that we have elected our officers for the calendar year of 2021. Is that the way I understand it? Ooh, we got Matt. Okay, well, we'll get him a little later, I guess. I don't see anything other than name on my screen. All right. Next item on our agenda is the approval of the minutes from the November 18th,
Over here. Oh.
2020 meeting. And I hope you've all had a chance to review them. Have anyone find any corrections or found something that should be added to the minutes? If we haven't, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes as written.
I move that we okay the minutes for that November 18th meeting, 2020.
I second it.
Very good. We have a motion made and seconded. If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
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 All right, the minutes have been approved for the November 18th meeting. All right, now, is there someone out there in the Never land that I don't understand that would like to speak on any subject that is not on our agenda tonight? You have an open mic at this point, so step up and tell us what you're thinking along the lines of historic preservation.
So Bob, it looks like we just have the applicant in the audience. That's all I'm seeing. So he will speak later.
That is
Matt. Yep.
All right, then we'll go on from there because we all understand what we're going to want to comment about. So it looks like to me as though it's time for our public hearing and time for Bob to butcher it up like he normally does. Now is the time for the Historic Landmarks Commission to conduct public hearing for application HLC application 184-20 Matthew, I'll pass on that one at 515 West 3rd Place. I don't think I need to give you any more directions than that. The criteria, the substantial criteria upon which the Historic Landmark Commission will base its decision in this matter are contained in the City Comprehensive Plan and Land Use and Development Ordinance. A public hearing is required by law and certain rules apply. First and foremost, you must be recognized by the chair in order to speak and present testimony. When recognized by the chair, please proceed to the microphone and state your name and mailing address for the record. This hearing is required by law to be tape recorded. Generally, the public hearing procedure is as follows. Prior to the public hearing, a determination should be made on the qualifications of the commission members and allow for challenges from the audience. Hearing none, we will open the public hearing with the staff meeting. The purpose of the staff report at this point is to further identify the applicable criteria of the case being considered. After the staff meeting, we'll hear testimony from the proponents, those three persons in favor of the application. Next, there will be a testimony from opponents, those not in favor of the application. Number 4, there will be a testimony from anyone who wishes to offer testimony or ask questions pertaining to this application. I don't see that on the rule, but that certainly makes sense to me. Then to honor the right of rebuttal, we will again hear from those in favor of the application. To speed the hearing, the commission members may ask questions of the person as they testify. When this process is been concluded, we will close the public testimony portion of the hearing. During the hearing, some important standards apply. First of all, those who testify must hold their testimony to the decision criteria. As in a law land use hearing, There are a complete set of rules, procedures, and criteria we must follow. Second, failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the commission members and the parties in it an opportunity to respond to that issue precludes the appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals based on that issue. Third, the failure of the applicant to raise constitutional or other issues related to the proposed condition of approval with details specific enough to allow the city to respond to these issues precludes an action for damages in the circuit court. Fourth, prior to the conclusion of the public hearing, any participant may request an opportunity to present additional information, arguments, or testimony regarding the application. If such a request is made, the law states that the commission shall grant the request by either continuing the hearing to a time and a date at least 7 days from the date of the initial hearing, or the record must be kept open for that period for at least 7 days. With our small audience, I want to ask, is there any questions on the rules? I hear none. Now I have to ask each member individually, and they always love to hear me, that does any member of this commission have an ex parte contact with or conflict of interest or bias that would not allow them to render an impartial decision on this matter? Hearing none. We've already asked for the qualifications of us commission members, and whatever we are, we are. The public hearing is now open. May we please have the staff report?
Thank you, Chair McNary. As you stated, this property this application is for the property known as the Donnell House. Applicant is requesting approval to site and construct a new garage to the rear. The applicant is Matthew Alleral, and Matthew is here, and his wife Amanda may also be joining us. I'm not sure. Property is located at 515 West 3rd Place. It is located in the Tri-Fifths National Historic District, and it's considered secondary contributing in that historic district. We did provide a published advertisement, local newspaper, property owners within 100 feet, as well as the Oregon State Historic Preservation. As the time, or at the time of the submittal of the, mailing of the staff report, we have not received any comments, public comments on the application. Staff is recommending approval based upon findings of fact. And I'm just gonna, to condense today, you guys can read, so I'm not gonna go over all of that, but I definitely want to go over what they are proposing. So this is the Donnell House, 515 West 3rd Place. To construct a new 3-car garage will be accessed from the rear. So there really aren't any proposed alterations on the existing house structure. So it provided you a vicinity map showing the property where it's located, as well as showing its proximity to Mill Creek. So Mill Creek, the property abuts right next to Mill Creek. This is actually just the red light line shows the property that we are working on today or discussing today. And this is existing conditions. So as you're aware, nothing is planned for the main building. I just wanted to show this so you could actually see some of the setbacks and the limited visibility in terms of seeing the backyard from 2nd Street, or excuse me, 3rd Place, sorry. I'm moving you guys. And then I also wanted to show the side of the house. The house does have a daylight basement. It is on a slope, and this kind of shows the opposite side of the west facing wall of the existing residence. This just gives you a little bit of a understanding as to how this back or the rear of their property is accessed. This is the stop sign right on the corner of 3rd Place. The veterinary home is right over to the side. And here's the little footbridge to get to the park, the swim pool. So this is their access. It is a private access road. And I believe it does it does end at the Allerals home, but if you have any additional questions on that, Matt can explain a little bit further for you later. Sorry. Okay, existing conditions. I did have Matt provide me with some photos from the rear, just in case some of you were fearing to trespass or get to the back of the property to take a look. As you can see, there is a natural progression, different levels that go down. Obviously, you see Mill Creek in the background there. And another one showing, so this garage will be in the place of where the existing parking area is. Another photo kind of shows a little bit more of the slope. So they're going to be working with that slope when they do their construction. So in addition to the municipal code for the Secretary of Interior standards, I also reviewed the historic design features and believe that this application does meet those criteria. I want to applaud Matthew and Amanda for a very thorough application. I know you all appreciate seeing the high level of professional plans that they provided. So this is a site plan. It kind of shows you a little bit like what I just gave you, the front view of the house, the setback from the property line here, and then the garage that will actually be on the lower level down closer to Mill Creek. West elevation. So this will be the side that I was showing where the house is right up here. That actually showed the daylight basement for the house. So that's the west elevation. This would be the elevation facing Mill Creek. And this would be what you would see if you're standing in the backyard of the house. And then of course, the east elevation. Materials that they provided included the shiplap as well as the shingled siding. Every material that they're looking to use will be similar to the primary structure. And the colors also will follow the paint colors of the house. I'm going to go ahead and let's see, I've got one, I think I've got one more photo here. I provided you this so that you're able to see, and I'm not sure, I think we did include this in the packet, but just so you can kind of see the level of excavation that actually would be occurring on the site. And, you know, giving reasons or rationale for us to ensure that condition number 2, which deals with the archaeological resources, and, you know, if anything is discovered, we need to ensure that they stop and have the site professionally evaluated prior to continuing work. This gives you a good idea on that. So staff is recommending approval. We believe that the proposed garage improvement will be within the historic design guidelines, and that we believe that the garage will have a very minimal impact on the existing street facade, as it is not accessing, nor will it be very visible from the street. These changes to the site will allow the applicant to provide enclosed parking and as well as encourage the continued use of this historic residential property. In all respects, this application meets the standard of Secretary of Interior standards, as well as the Dallas Municipal Code, Title 1112, historic resources. And my recommended conditions of approval are: number 1, work will be completed in substantial conformance to the pictures and proposals as submitted and reviewed. Number 2, if any archaeological resources or materials are discovered during excavation, applicant shall stop excavation and have the site professionally evaluated prior to continuing work. And number 3, the applicant shall complete the building permit process with the city, and upon approval, complete the permitting process with the local building codes department. Do you have any questions of staff? And then before I say that, Bob kind of prompted me a couple of times and I just hadn't followed through. I did actually type out a motion, so that would be a little bit easier for the commissioners if you did want to support the application and recommend approval. I've got it all written out for you there. So do you have any questions of staff?
I have no question of staff. Are we ready to call the proponent? If I hear no one saying else.
Well, are we going to vote now, are you saying?
So no.
Where are we in the process?
Right now, we're going to hear the proponent tell us all the wonderful things about why he wants to build this wonderful.
Oh, okay. Okay.
At least that's my understanding where we are. Staff has given us a report, so we're calling for the applicant step forward and tell us all the wonderful things that's going to happen by putting a 3-car garage behind his house. Not attached, but behind. Matthew, Matt, no, it didn't. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Hi, Bob. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, hi. How are you guys doing? Hello, Don. I don't remember who else is in the meeting, but hello, everyone. I am the owner of the house, well, my wife and I, and we have 3 cars, and we really want to be able to keep them under cover. And we really want to be able to not have our neighbors park in the back all the time too. So we are looking to have a spot that would fit all 3 cars, and that would keep them safe. And as I think you guys know, there's a lot of foot traffic that is not very welcome in the neighborhood in the back. So we're always a little bit concerned about leaving the cars outside. So we really want to have them covered. And as far as the garage, like Don mentioned, so we spent a lot of money in redoing the house at 515 the first time around. So we are putting a lot of attention in the details, in making sure that the garage will match the house as close as possible, so that they look like they were almost built at the same time. And we, during the entire process, the engineer that worked on designing the garage was in communication, as far as I know, with the city to make sure we were fine with the setback and the sewer, because the sewer is not very far from the garage. And another thing that we needed to get done is, I think you guys may be familiar in this area, a lot of the historical houses, we still have those tile sewer pipe. So for us, when we build the garage, it's going to be a good opportunity to upgrade the section of sewer that goes from the house to the sewer line. So I believe right now it's still like the old tile style, which has a tendency to clog up and go bad. So that's it, I guess. I don't know. Do you guys have any questions?
Does anyone,
I don't have any.
commissioners, have a question to ask of Matthew? Matt?
Yes, Bob.
What about this, Doug? Are you following us?
Sorry. What about what? I didn't get that.
Matthew, I think he's checking with the commissioners to see if they have any questions.
Oh, okay.
We're a little confused there for a minute. Are you there, Doug? I've lost Doug now.
Doesn't look like he can hear you.
What? And were you asking for Doug?
I'm
Yes.
asking for you, yes. You have
Oh,
any,
okay. I would just like to, I would like to compliment them on how they prepared this application. It's one of the best that I've seen. And also compliment them on the job that they or the architect did in matching the style of the house, the materials. I think it's a really good job.
Thank you. And just so you guys know, we are using the same contractor and the same engineers that we used the first time that we redid the Donnell house. So we are using the same team of people that we used the very first time, because they did a very good job for us. So.
Bev, if you've got a comment, question.
I agree with Doug. I thought it was really well done. And I actually enjoyed reading the history of the house. This has nothing to do with what we're supposed to talk about. But one of the Donnells worked at Snipes and Kennerly Drug, and we live in Ben Snipes' house. So we're kind of related. Our houses are kind of related. He worked at the drugstore, and we have some bottles that came up that had the little drugstore motif. And the second wife was born in Condon, and my dad would have known her. He was born in Condon. He would have been just a little bit younger, going to the same school. So I thought, wow, that's kind of cool history, connecting people. Has nothing to do with what you asked about, Bob, but I enjoyed that part of it.
That's fine. That's exactly what this commission is. This commission wants to be open and capable of asking and receiving answers. Eric, did you ever find your way back through the clouds? Hearing nothing from Eric, I have no comments to make other than I think it's a wonderful addition to the neighborhood, which probably will only see it when they look out their back windows. If they look out toward east 30, okay, West 3rd Street, they're going to see nothing. So, of it. I have no more questions of the proponent, and I'll have to open. Thank you,
So
Matthew.
Bob,
Yeah.
Bob, Forrest did join the meeting, so I don't know if you saw Forrest
good.
is with us.
Good. Forrest, where are you?
I'm here. I didn't have any comments, Bob.
Okay, that's the question I wanted. I didn't want to leave you out. I didn't know
Thank
how
you.
much of it you got to hear. So you have no comment? Good. So I want to switch over now and ask if there's anyone in Never Never Land here that is an opponent to this program. And I don't hear anybody. I don't see anybody on my screen. So I'm going to say there's no one in opposition to this. So is any one of the commissioners have any questions to ask of staff before we close the public hearing?
Nope.
Okay, that's good. So we're going to close with a public hearing. I haven't got my gavel with me. Nevertheless, the public hearing is closed at this time. And now we will deliberate as commission members on the merits of this and hopefully make an approval or whatever, make a motion that will pertain to it. So if there's anybody who wants to say something pertaining to this or make a motion, the floor is yours.
I'll make a motion. I move to approve application HLC 185-20 of Matthew. I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher your name, Matthew. Matthew Erlal, to site and construct a detached garage to the rear of the property located at 515 West 3rd Place with the 3 recommended conditions of approval. Thank you for that, Don.
I second the motion.
Now, the recommendations, the conditions of approval was added in that chart, right? Well, there are very few here, but it is a formality that we have to go through. Staff recommends things to be added to the application and or go along with the application. So you are recommending that we use those conditions of approval in your motion.
Yes, sir.
And now that motion has been seconded, did I talk and not listen?
I seconded the motion, if that's what you're
That's
looking
what I'm
for.
asking for, Doug, because I was talking and not listening. So we have a motion that's made and seconded to approve the application. If there's no further comments, I'm going to call for a vote, and I'm going to ask for a show of hands. All in favor, raise your hand.
Excuse
Or
me,
you don't see your hand, but I'm going to touch you. You got it up.
Chair McNary,
Yes, sir.
I cannot see the hands because Dawn is still sharing the screen.
Okay, let's
Okay.
go back to, let's
Will
go
you
back
please-
to auto.
Will you please raise your hands again?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Keep me up to speed if we can. Thank you. And good to see you now over there, Ford. So that takes care of the application for, I'll think about it, resolution. Now we'll go back to the resolution, and it is for the same application, and the resolution, I'll put my glasses back on, is HLC 173-21, and it goes with the 17184-120. I haven't read the resolution closely, but I'm waiting for someone to make a motion that we accept the resolution with the conditions of approval. Hello, did I?
I make a motion that we accept the resolution with the conditions of approval. Is that right?
That's right. You're making that motion. You're doing good, Bev.
Thanks,
need-
Bob.
We need a second.
I would second the motion. Doug
Thank you,
Leash.
Doug. If there's any further discussion, now is the time for it. Hearing none, we will do this auto for Paula. Bev, aye or nay?
Okay, my screen just went blank. I didn't understand. That I approve it?
Okay, vote to approve. We got to call back here now. We can wave our hands again. Doug, can you wave your hand? If you're in
I
favor?
approve.
I
Okay.
approve.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Eric Steven back. How much did you miss, Eric?
You're on mute, Eric.
It's done. It,
I missed pretty much
Oh, there he
everything.
I missed the whole show.
Yeah.
we'll bring you up to speed someday, okay?
Okay, that sounds good.
So Commissioner Gleason?
Yeah.
Are you, did you abstain then?
I will abstain, yes, please.
Thank you.
So, if we match the motion, so I think it's approved. Is that correct? Paula?
Correct. Thank you.
Okay. We can go on to the next item on the agenda.
Thank you, Matthew. I'll be reaching out to you soon.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and I'm looking forward to the beautiful structure you're building. It's a very good application and very applicable time to build it.
Thank you. I look forward to having it finished too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.
Should have can stick around and keep us honest, but that's the way it is. All right, we're going to go into 2021 goal setting, and as soon as I flip this, by the way, can I throw a commissioner's report recommendation in? I believe her name was Sanders that wanted permission to rebuild her fence along East 3rd Street. Is the third place that was prior to crossing the Mill Street Bridge. And we rejected her application at that time. And I see they've gone back now and reconfigured the fence and scraped it, painted it, and I think it looks wonderful. And I really think that if there was any way that without prejudicing ourselves, that the Landmark Commission sends them a thank you note for doing what they've done.
I think that's a good idea.
Looks good, huh?
I agree. I think it looks really nice. I think I hope they're not mad that we put the kibosh on that other idea, but I think they did a wonderful job.
So Don, you've heard it. I don't know if there's any way we can do that, but I think they've made it wonderful that they should just by cleaning up the fence and painting it. And so we don't go any further. Okay, now I'll be quiet and we'll go back to goal setting.
Okay. So I just wanted to go. Okay, so Paula and I have been kind of brainstorming the last couple of days, and we want to make it a little bit more streamlined for you and easy so that you're able to see what goals we have from last year, as well as make the edits at the same time. So Paula is going to share her screen like she just did, and we'll kind of be like we usually do, going down, reading through the goals, and while we're going through and looking at them, she will then edit as needed and move them around until you guys add a change, remove the way that you'd like them to read. So we'll go ahead and we'll start that. It looks like, I'm not sure what she's sharing right now. That looks kind of fun.
I lost it.
Those are the 2020 goals that you would revise then for 2021?
So we're seeing an agenda, Paula. That's what's showing right now.
You're seeing an agenda?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Help me out. Just a moment. I'm seeing the goals.
Oh,
Oh, I forgot to share my, whoops. Down there on the,
I can't tell what I'm seeing. I can't read it.
just a
I
minute.
thought it was just me, Doug, but I think it's a little funky.
So
I need
just
more
so you,
powerful glasses.
right? So just know if you did receive your packet, well, actually, you guys get electronic packets, so it's kind
Why
of
isn't
hard to
it
look at
doing
it.
that?
But it is the same goal setting or same goals from
They
2020
changed the
that would be.
to show some. I hit that.
Well, it's not working for me at all.
Yeah.
Double click on what?
It just went away. It just do this.
Oh,
I don't know, where are we? I've lost track.
There it is.
What we discussed.
Bob, just be patient with me. It's new. Just a minute.
Bring your
This
Word document
on that.
onto this screen. Drag it across
Drag across where?
onto this screen.
Oh. So it was on the
And
wrong
then-
screen.
Go back. Shift.
Okay.
Nope. There you go.
This.
There we go.
So now you guys can see. Oh, okay. Sincere apologies for the confusion. You cannot teach an old dog new tricks.
Okay, so my suggestion, or well, the way that we've done it in the past, is we've taken a look at our short-term goals and kind of just read through it and ensure we want to keep them there. And again, keeping in mind there is no necessary or necessarily any order or ranking of importance. I know that we do sometimes like to move something to the top so it's a little bit more visible, but so we can go ahead and just start it the way that we used to do it. If you guys are okay with that, then I'll just start and we'll just have open dialogue. Is that what, are you guys good with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Okay. All right. So short-term goals for 2021. So 2020, we had encourage preservation and reuse of the Waldron and Getchell building. Is that something you would still like to keep in?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Number 2, we have update historic ordinances and design standards. So this is something that we have looked at, and I'm hoping to actually get a grant in the next year to do some of those revisions. We had our certified local government annual, or excuse me, 5-year review this summer. I did via Zoom. It was great. But so I do have that in the forefront in terms of making those revisions. So I think it would be a great idea to keep it in there so that we can make sure that I do get that done and we can check that off as something that we've done. Would you guys agree?
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, so the third one is provide a historic restoration workshop for local homeowners and contractors. So as you know, we did have a grant, or we do have a grant currently in play. I'm going to give you a little bit of report on that after we go through goal setting. Even though we can't do it this year due to COVID, and having in-class or in-person instruction just does not make sense for safety reasons. I think it's a great thing for us to keep in. Because we've had some good, I mean, they haven't had tons of attendance, but they've been well received in our community. So I'm not sure if you guys want to still keep trying to do that and keep trying to get grants for those.
I think that they're a great idea.
Is that like the plaster thing we had, Dawn, at
yes.
for pictures? Yeah, I thought that was fantastic. I really enjoyed that.
So we did have money this year for a brick restoration program, which we'll probably bump that to another granting cycle. So is there any other type of trades or workshops that you guys can, give me some ideas on what, I mean, not necessarily add it to the goals, but just maybe so I can kind of have on the forefront as to what we're looking to provide for workshops. Does anybody have any more ideas?
Maybe door restoration.
And it might be a good idea to have another window restoration too, Eric.
Yeah.
Do you think that would be worthwhile?
Oh, yeah, there's always interest in that. Could probably
Okay.
combine the two.
Okay. All right, so we want to go ahead and keep that one in. The fourth one we have is partner with Main Street on further downtown restoration project goals. So I'm not sure, any thoughts on that?
Excuse me, Dawn.
Yes,
Tell me which ones you're keeping now.
so we haven't removed any, so we've kept them all so far. Yep,
And what one are you on now?
the one right below that. We're on partner with Main Street.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So, any discussions on that? Or is that something you want to bump to long range?
What have we done with Main Street other than the neon signs? Have we done any projects with them?
So we haven't recently, in recent years. They've kind of gone through a little bit of a change in terms of their director left, and so they've had some changes in their board, et cetera. And COVID obviously hasn't helped much there. But we did originally, a few years ago. That was when we had our first window repair workshop. It was during a Main Street like weekend celebration or training, and we ended up having it that weekend. So we partnered with them for that project, but we really haven't really partnered per se, but we worked with them on various projects.
Not
I think it's
certain
good.
that we need.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was
I
just
was
going
gonna
to say,
say-
I think it's good to keep the relationship, just to keep the history component front and center.
Okay.
Do we want to call it more collaborate as opposed to partner?
Oh.
Or
That's a good
That would
word.
that is a good word. And I do have one suggestion for an addition to this is also include the Dells Art Center with the Main Street and the Dells Art Center. And as you're all aware, they were the Dells mural that was placed, and I'll give you a little update later as to what we're working on right now. But I think that they would be a great partner. They have the historic preservation component, and then everybody loves art. So I don't know if that's something you guys are interested in adding, we can do that. If
I would
not,
agree
that's
with
totally fine.
that. I think that's a good idea.
I agree with it too.
sounds good to me.
Okay. And another benefit to, I'm not sure goals really aren't, that's not necessarily the reason a grant is awarded or not, but it does look good. So if the Dells Art Center was going out for a grant and we had a project that we were working on together, that it is a goal that we're working together. Same with Main Street, so that they would see the city HLC is actually working with them on projects. Okay. Support the restoration and preservation of the Civic Auditorium building.
I have no problems with that, other than are we getting any input to what we're supporting?
So I don't, in terms of, I think it's just a general statement, just supporting that because it is a historic landmark. Any interior work is not, obviously, as you know, come before you, but we do have, it's kind of like another agency, another facility that we, look at making sure that it's continued to preserve so it can be used in our community.
Well, we don't have anything to support with it. We don't have a budget anyhow, so all we can do is give our verbal approval.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I give verbal
And I
approval.
think, right, and I think that kind of goes back to my last comment about the Main Street and Dells Art Center, so that it's kind of one of those things where, maybe it's something that will help the Civic if they're looking for funding or granting sources to see that the HLC does support the preservation efforts that they're making there. Okay, so we want to keep that one in there. Support the creation of walking tours and regular historic building open houses. So I think any thoughts on that? I think that definitely the the creation of walking tours and or expansion of existing walking tours is a great idea. I'm not sure, any thoughts about the regular historic open houses? Is that something that even still kind of occurs? Eric, do you open your house still occasionally?
Not really. I don't think that anybody really does anymore now that they changed the special assessment program.
Right. So
It
just
was
so
kind of
everybody
nice
knows,
when it was.
yeah, it was, just so everybody on the commission knows, of the special assessment program that Eric mentioned. If you are a special assessment property, you had the mandatory requirement to open your house. I think it was like a 4-hour period on, you just had to notify the local papers or the local CLG. And Eric and Jackie were regular, and they've kind of done it. We did it like historic Vidal's days. Dan Spots had kind of helped in trying to get a whole bunch of homes that were on the register, but it's no longer required. You know, I don't know how many people feel, especially in a pandemic, but you know, we got to look at these as, you know, long term, not necessarily the next year, just the next year or two. So is that something you guys definitely want to keep?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so, and it was also nice when they had the downtown open houses for PEO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll be something that'll start up again.
I'm hopeful. I actually, Scott Stevenson from the Art Center and I were talking today, and we had the conversation about how important it is, or how exciting it is for people to see the interiors of those old buildings downtown. So, okay. Encourage preservation and continued use of Rockfort by using the adopted preservation and maintenance plan. Just so you all know, we do have money set aside, and our 2 maintenance workers for the city hall do maintain and keep their eye on the Lewis and Clark, or excuse me, Rockfort, to ensure that there's, you know, it's more so ensure where there's no camping and or desecration of anything on site, which we do have a couple, I think, like landmarks that actually have some narrative as to what happened at that location, or what we believe happened at that location.
Yes, we want to.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
leave it. All right. So this is one that we talked about. I think we added last year. Encourage and support the addition of a student representative. I would love to keep it on here. The unfortunate thing with this is finding the right kid, not during a pandemic, or, you know, number of children. The city, which that I received this, you know, idea from, Canby, still has not successfully fulfilled that position. So I was kind of bummed out. I probably should, maybe I threw it at you guys a little too early. I should have waited and, you know, see what they were able to do. So I would love for this to stay in there and be something that I can continue to try to work with the high school and or the college to see if we can get somebody to show up at you guys' meetings.
What kind of a recruiting program do you think we could initiate?
I'm not really sure. The way that the Canby had set theirs up is that it was like a volunteer hour thing. So kids were able to get their volunteer hours, and as a lot of us know as adults, sometimes getting encouraged and or forced into doing volunteer hours, you truly find passions and appreciations of finer things, or things that you never would have ever, you know, included in your life. So I guess part of it could be through the counseling office and recruiting through the counseling office on the the students that need hours, and or working with the college and maybe their student body to see if there's anyone in one of those capacities that's looking to get experience with a appointed board and a certified local government, which, I mean, they could get quite a bit of experience, and it's a good resume builder as far as I'm concerned. So, I mean, I could do either direction. I could go either direction, or I could go both directions and just kind of put some more feelers out. But I had no one bite last year.
You know, every year, Mr. Egwell, when he still taught, I think they still do it now. Doug, you could correct me. They had students, like honor society students, come and help clean up the grounds, and they got hours towards their, you know, how many volunteer hours they had for their graduation. And that's always been very successful. Is that even related to what you're talking about?
Yes, no,
So-
and that would be exactly, that I think is kind of that carrot to get somebody there, because those volunteer hours are required to graduate.
Here's
Usually
a,
they,
oh,
go ahead.
sorry. I was gonna say, here's a joke for you, Bob. That one of the last years Alan was teaching, he had a group and he gave them some instruction that they're supposed to bring a hoe and not to wear thongs. And you can imagine the reaction from the kids because they speak a different language. So it's probably time for him to retire.
Oh, that's good. That was good, Bev. Okay, so do you guys want to keep that in
I would
the
keep
short
it.
term?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It'd be a great experience if you could, for somebody to do that, find somebody that has that interest.
Okay. So the next, okay, go ahead, Bob. Sorry.
I was only gonna add, I think the student exchange program with the Japanese program that we've got going might be a group to look into to start with. That's all I was gonna suggest. That's what I was asking.
Oh, so like the kids, like the local kids that want to be part of that program. Oh, okay, that's a good idea. And it's a pretty tight group. I can reach out to Amber Tilton and check with her on that.
Okay, I'm quiet. Go.
Okay, so we're going to keep that one. The next one is provide informational signage at Pioneer Cemetery regarding landscaping, maintenance, and burials. So we have not done anything yet, and part of the reason on that is Bob and I just talked today about getting that fence line cleared and painted. So I need to put together a proposal to my department head to see if we can get some monies in our budget next year to see if we can actually do that. So if you guys want to keep that as a goal, I will definitely ask to include that in some budgeting and possibly get some money so we can get something that looks good and get it up at the cemetery.
So we need to add on painting the fencing as well to that.
We could definitely do that.
yeah, because maybe if we just put painting the fence on there, we can check something off of our list.
Right. Good idea, Eric. I think that's a good one.
I'm sitting here thinking, trying to figure out a way to make the people in this community aware of that cemetery and the historical significance it has. I should use a number right off the top of my head. I'd say 95% of this community doesn't even realize that that historic cemetery is there. So it's going to be kind of a hard sell to ask them to do much of anything more than get educated.
Okay, so let's go ahead and so we've got provide informational signage at Pioneer Cemetery regarding landscape maintenance and burials. Let's say informational signage, and then maybe included or continued maintenance and repairs of the existing fence or something like that. About,
I
yeah.
don't think we want that word burial there unless we want to explain to people a long procedure of how the cemetery is actually no longer a cemetery as far as using it as a cemetery. It is a closed cemetery now, and no one could be buried there as an addition.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd take that off.
Okay, so let's do provide informational signage at Pioneer Cemetery regarding landscaping and maintenance. And then maybe what we do is put as well as provide continued maintenance and painting of existing fencing, something like that.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Do we want
so
the informational signage more related to the history rather than the landscaping and maintenance?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the signage was going to be like marking the graves, like so you can know who was buried where and maybe a little information about that individual if we have it.
So we could we could modify, let Paula catch up here, maintenance for fence. Go ahead and put existing fencing, Paula, on that. I think that's, okay. So what we could do is,
Put a little apostrophe right after that fencing and trails.
oh,
And what?
and
Yeah,
trails
Walk paths or call it however you want to call them.
or walking, yeah, walking paths might be better. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's do this. So provide informational signage at the Pioneer Cemetery regarding history. Maybe we do history, landscaping and maintenance.
Yeah.
Okay. And then just to kind of let you know, the project that we're doing for the historic walking tour that I've currently got a grant for, that we do have a grant for. I know we've all talked about it before because Jackie and Eric had done the wonderful survey up there. We have some good lists, but I'm hoping to ultimately have another phase of our walking tour so that people can actually have apps and use an app and have that information up at the cemetery while they're walking and get that detail of, you know, who was buried here, what their names are, if they're able to scan something. So I think we should keep that in. And then that can help with our, you know, next grant with SHPO maybe, and looking at getting some more recognition up at that.
Good idea.
Up at that site. Okay.
So do we want to add something about the app in there as well, or do we need that?
We could. So Paula, can you scroll up and look at the historic walking tours?
I'm sorry, where?
So that would be
Is it further down?
support. No, you're right. You're up. Sorry. We just went over it. So support of up a little bit more. There you go. Support the creation of walking tours. So let's add walking tours, comma, or maybe in parentheses, historic building and Pioneer Cemetery. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Historic buildings. Okay.
What?
So historic buildings and cemeteries in parentheses.
Wouldn't it just be
Or
a
go ahead.
comment?
You're fine. You're fine. Yeah. So support the creation of walking tours for historic structures, or maybe we say properties. Sorry, historic properties and the Pioneer Cemetery.
Pioneer specifically.
Correct. We don't want everybody else's. Sorry. I don't. And then how about this? And then say, and encourage historic building open houses. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Is that what you had in mind?
Yep. Okay. So there we go. So
Do
support
we
the
need
creation
an
of walking tours. Oh,
of
sorry. Go ahead.
in there, and of in front of historic properties?
Oh, picky.
Oh, no, the other historic properties.
Other
The first-
historic.
The first historic properties.
Oh,
Support the creation
sorry.
of walking tours of historic properties.
Oh, I
Maybe
see.
get rid of that comma.
There you go.
Oh, good
Perfect.
eye.
Properties, Pioneer Cemetery. Yeah, get rid of the other and in there. Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness.
There we go. Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay. And then, so it looks like Paula added paint and provide maintenance for existing fences and walkways. And then let's add Pioneer Cemetery on that, just so or for Pioneer Cemetery, whatever reads.
Is that what you meant?
Yes. Does that look good, you guys?
Yep.
Okay. Next one is encourage the fabrication and installation of historic plaques through the community, including Pulpit Rock and Amaton Field. as I've told you before, SHPO does not support signs anymore or any longer. We can't get any grants for those, but that is something that I think we can still keep it on there and take a look at it. I think with some of the ideas we have for these historic walking tours and adding additional properties, the downside is anybody who doesn't have a handheld device may not be able to garner that information. But I think if we keep it in there, that kind of hits both, you know, whether it's a electronic or if it is an actual physical sign at the site.
Can someone refresh my memory? Isn't there already a plaque on Pulpit Rock though?
I believe there's a pretty minimal one there.
Okay.
There's a
Bob,
plaque up there for it. There's a plaque, but it doesn't say anything other than it's a plaque. And I do believe that we need something with a little more story information, because somebody has to bring their own history with them to make the plaque meaningful.
And are we thinking of having this plaque mounted on Pulpit Rock, or having like a standalone little stand that you can walk up to? Because the rock is right in the middle of the road there. And so I don't want a whole bunch of people walking in the middle of the road to look at our beautiful plaque with all this information and spend all day reading it there.
The safety problem.
I talked to Don earlier today, and that is a piece of city property. It's on the right of way. So I don't think that we're going to be able to. There is a crosswalk that goes across there someplace. I can't remember just where. And I don't know if we could get permission to really do any more drilling holes and placing any more plaques against that rock. I don't know. But it can be put on another sign over on the sidewalk side. There's no question about it.
So it's up to you guys. We can definitely keep them on there, and you know, and I can, you know, kind of wade through the potential.
Does not have one, does it? To my knowledge.
No. And I would love Amaton Field to get rid of the course, the ROTC course that they don't use. They're not used at all, I've heard. So I think Eric was a little frustrated with that one when it went in. Okay. Alrighty. So you want to just go ahead and keep it there, and then I'll just kind of entertain some conversations with Public Works and see what kind of limitations they may have due to safety, and see if it's even something we could do.
I would like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good. And maybe we could even do a combined sign or something too.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
With the signage, like for historic homes and buildings downtown, I know we have one in front of our house, but not on Trevor. But they must have done it at one time, because there's a bunch of them around town. They're kind of faded and beat up. But I know Alan's hometown of Brownsville, every house in the downtown area has this really cool sign that has the date that it was built and the name of the person that lived there. That's it. And it's such a cool feature for people that love history. And I kind of pushed it when I was on the chamber board, but no one, was like cricket chirp when I brought it up every time. So nothing happened. But would this be a place where we could maybe do it? I don't know if you need it in the verbiage here, but is that something that we would be doing or concerned with, or is that another area?
So I think, Paula, do we have it on long-term goals? Do we have the signage again? Or continuous goals, maybe?
Oh, just right below the one we just did was create a concept for.
Oh, and there it is. And there it is.
There it is. There it is, Bev.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah, I was not reading ahead.
So we do, just so you know, yes, we do have those. State Historic Preservation Office used to assist us with granting on those so that they would be a little bit more affordable at that time, which has been 15 plus years ago.
They'd be, yeah.
They were
older than that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you were one of the original back in the 90s. I think 94.
It's been here, yeah, because 97 we bought this house, or 96, and it was here.
So I still do have a couple blank plates of those. Each time I've reached out to a local sign maker, I haven't really had any bites on so I just what I think I need to do is reach out again and kind of get a price. Back then they were $250, and they had like a baking process that then allowed it to have a life that was 20 plus years is what they said. So obviously if you're still able to kind of read yours, Bev, then it's made its life that was promised. So, you know, we can go ahead and keep that in there. I think I agree with Bev. I think I would love to see more historic, at least plaques saying, you know, this is where
People
so-and-so,
would
this house was
pay
built. Yeah.
money to buy them, you know, and then
Right.
you could actually cover all your costs and maybe get a little bit of a slush fund for coffee for the board. I don't know if that's allowed.
I should be sending you guys coffee. Yeah. Don't provide it for you at the meeting. So, okay. So let's go ahead and keep that one on I think that's a good idea. Encourage the preservation and restoration of City Hall, specifically the council chambers. So I will let you know, it's kind of been put on hold due to COVID, but the next plans are some, I mean, if you look at where Paula's sitting, it's definitely, we still have the wood paneling in there, but that is on the city council's goal list also, as well as the city manager. I think it put funds aside this year, but we may hold that off till next year. So I think that's great. I think you guys kind of helped encourage that conversation, and, you know, with us coming to the digital age and seeing inside of that building a little bit more, it makes us all realize how dated and non-historically appropriate it is. So
As the HLC, do we get a say on how that looks on the inside, or are we strictly the exterior?
strictly exterior. So usually they're pretty good about including me on the design. So I'm able to kind of take a look at what they're planning. In the past, we used original plans to City Hall and followed some design features and some of the wood trims. And that was really nice. I'm assuming we'll be going through a similar process for the courtroom.
Well, I just think that we should remove the last three words then, if we're not going to have any say on the council chambers. But I mean, we give our input, but we're not going to really be. I mean, that's just my opinion.
I think that's good. Do you guys want to go ahead and remove the council chambers and just basically keep it at City Hall, which would encourage the continued use and preservation and restoration of City Hall?
Sounds
Sounds
good to me.
That's correct.
Okay.
You're right on, Ford. That's good.
Okay. All righty. Okay, so long-term goals. This one is support the Fort Dalles Museum and vehicle storage building. As we know, that's still kind of on hold. So we haven't heard anything. I would suggest that we keep it there.
Retain it because it's a long history there, and I don't know if we got time enough tonight to even start to get into that, but it's still, we still are encouraging.
Yeah.
Okay, so consensus, yes, to keep that. All righty. So the next one we have is support and advocate for preservation and continued use of the Dalles High School and Colonel Wright Elementary School. As you know, those are both locally landmarked. They are obviously in very limited use right now due to COVID, but I mean, if the high school does, you know, get a new location out at Watonka and it's new one's built, then we definitely have some concern regarding a reuse of an existing high school. So are you guys, you definitely want to keep those on there? Okay.
I say keep it on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one is encourage the continued preservation and compatible infill of historic Chinatown. I think that's a pretty important one. Eric's got some good head start there. The next one we've got is encourage the restoration and preservation of Pioneer Cemetery. And it's, oh, hey, there's our, oh, no, that's just the link. And establish an inventory link and listing on the city's website. So we do have that. And just to let you know, we are, we have been talking about making some changes to our website. I think fund-wise, we're waiting due to the concentration being on COVID recovery versus fancying up our website. But that is something that we are looking at all of our pages that the planning department and so historic landmarks also, so that we can make sure that people have all that data accessible at their fingertips. So, okay, let's keep that one on there if you guys are good with that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So continuous goals. So these are what we try to continue to strive to meet every year. First one, facilitate educational assistance to help restorers with assessments and other historic preservation needs. I think we do continue to do that. I think it's a great one. It's just a good reminder to staff and the Historic Landmark Commission of what our true calling and meaning is to get people to restore their buildings. So I don't know if you guys want to keep that one on there.
I think we should.
Mhm.
Okay. So the second one, I have to say I did not follow through on that one, but I think Bev kind of, and you guys kind of gave me a little direction. Maybe we take a look at the recognition may not be, of course, we don't have a newspaper anymore local, but recognition could be something through the community connections page that Tom Peterson does, as well as sending out thank you letters to those applicants that do complete projects and make the changes that they or you have approved. So do you guys want to look at, do you want me to keep that? Should we modify it any? Okay.
Sounds
Sounds fine.
Encourage historic restoration for downtown by, oh, whoops, sorry. Encourage historic restoration for downtown by providing historic background research. So we do continue to do that. The library is a partner in assisting people in doing some of those research projects. And we've also, the addition of the county's access to a lot of the county's deeds or the clerk's documents from long ago. People can, if they want to dive in and really do their own research, that we've got, you know, there's some tools there that they can actually do their own research, and we kind of push them that direction over to all those different agencies or offices, I should say. You guys want to keep that one or modify
Yep.
it any?
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so encourage the collection and preservation of local history, including irreplaceable oral and written histories. So I really think we should keep this one. Roger, oh my gosh, my brain just went dead. Roger Nichols, he has been working heavily on this, and I told him, let us know when and if you ever need anything, and you know, we'll do everything we can in terms of, or in, to support him, as well as look at some granting opportunities if he needs them. So I have not been in contact with him for a while, so it might be good for me to kind of remind me to reach out to him and see if he's looking for some assistance. Okay, so we're going to keep that one. So update historic inventories and encourage new nominations to the local and to the national registered districts. I did actually talk with Curry, our CLG coordinator, at the 5-year CLG review, and she had encouraged that we do some survey in the next few years. As you are aware, we've had, you know, there is some tweaks that needs to happen to some of our existing inventories, because I mean, sometimes you find information and the data has changed or it was not completely accurate. So I kind of want to take a look at in the next, you know, obviously after the next grant cycle, to see if that's something we can do, is do a little bit of survey and see if we can have the interest out there for somebody to, whether they be locally landmarked and or be part of a district or a district expansion or even a new district. So I don't think we have the push for a district necessarily, but I think it would be worth us sending some survey out and seeing if people want, they want to, you know, make their property historic. Eric, do you have any input on that specifically?
No, but that's always been one of our goals, is to try and encourage that stuff. So I think
Okay.
it's a good one to retain, and I don't know how we go about it. I think we do need to, like in the next grant cycle or two, hire somebody to do some more survey so we can get kind of that groundwork laid to get more properties. It's been a long time since we've locally landmarked anything.
It has, and I want to say it was Pat Smith's house was one of the last local landmarks we've had, and that's been, that's got to be close to 10 years or longer.
Yeah.
So
Pat Smith's been gone for 15, so I hate to. Go ahead. Sorry.
So we also, Scott Stevenson and I've been working on the historic walking tour grant and talking through some properties. And there's some properties that are on the Altogether, the Dalles mural that were included more so as, you know, meaningful to the Dalles, not necessarily historic. Meaning some of them, an example is Cousins. And Cousins wouldn't, I don't know if it's 50 years old. I don't think it is yet. But another one is like the Zim's Brauhaus is on there because that's, you know, people associate Zim's and or the downtown the Dalles, and there's a lot of history there. So there's some businesses that are actually and locations in town that are actually not landmarked. Some are privately owned and some are owned by the government. So Scott and I talked about, you know, maybe me taking a look at reaching out to some of these government agencies saying, hey, what do you think about landmarking this property? So I think we have some opportunity there. And I think that would be great to, that'd be kind of a good survey start is going through that mural and taking a look at what we could add, which then we could accentuate our walking tours with some of those properties.
The more information we have, the better it is.
I agree completely, Forrest. Big one, number one, maintain certified local government status, which gives you the opportunity to make decisions as well as keeping it at a local level rather than going to Salem, and gives you a little bit of flexibility on how to approve and what type of conditions you can apply. So I would, plus we get grant money. So there we go. We need that.
Yeah.
Okay. So this one is one, and Eric, I don't know if you know of anything, actively support Historic Month and local history. I'm not sure, I really haven't heard anything since Dan Spots used to do the Historic the Dalles Days. I haven't heard much on anything that deals with Historic the Dalles Days, if they combined with Cherry Fest.
Yeah, it just kind of slipped away. I think it was a lot of work and conflicted with other things, and so yeah. At one point, we kind of also partnered with National Preservation Month, but we haven't really done that either. So,
That's usually October, right?
yeah, I think so.
Can I ask a question? It's going to fit in here someplace. I don't know just where, but since we have lost our paper, we can't even really pay for an ad or get a historical column going each edition of the paper. Could we do something like this on the city's website? Could we get Roger to write us a short historic blog or whatever you want to call it that would be added from time to time to give people an opportunity to expand their understanding of where they're living?
You know, I think we could, and I think, you know, maybe what it is more outreach to the current forms of news that we have, which my fear is, which would be like Facebook and the Columbia Gorge Community or Columbia Community Connection, which is web-based. My fear is we would lose some of the older generations that do not use those devices, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people use them more. I've got a stubborn father that refuses to have a cell phone. So I'm kind of used to, you know, knowing that some people do want them and some don't, but I mean, and maybe it is that we look at just, you know, using the tools that we have to get the local history out there. And maybe we don't need something like this, because with our walking tours and all of the information that's coming out on those, again, that's going back just to electronic, a lot of that data and information regarding buildings and sites will be accessible on the web through that app. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just difficult to reach the younger generation that were born here, raised here, but now they're into a limbo stage, to have them understand how this city was formed and what the historic significance were and all the things that were done here to preserve the city. So I don't know,
And
it amazes me, and I don't have the ability, so I wouldn't want to start writing, Facebook pages or whatever to cover it.
And I do think it's the web, the World Wide Web has its benefits to it. And I hate to admit this, but there are times when I will take the inventory sheets that you all have access to, and I will actually type in some details regarding a certain property to see if there's any additional information out there that I can use either in a staff report or that I can find someone else to talk to. So I think there's a lot of information out there. I don't think we need to worry too much about getting that information out, but I think, supporting Historic Month, I don't even know if, like Eric said, it kind of fizzled away, but maybe we can just say actively support local history. I don't know if you want, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer because that's what it's kind of in your title.
I would be
I don't know.
okay with striking that altogether from our goals because yeah, it's kind of what we do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bev, the next one kind of goes, and we still had it from our long-term goals. So assist with historic costs and availability. So that is kind of what we're looking at, or we've had it on there. We haven't really had anybody bite, but I do know that the applicant earlier is very interested in getting a plaque in front of their property. They're willing to pay for it. The problem that I had with their plaque was it contradicted John Nelson's plaque across the street, and basically it said that John Nelson's house was built for the person that died at the previous house, which is where, anyway, I was like, oh no, we've got to change 2 plaques. So I did the family tree and who was married, and it was I'm like, oh no, we have a boo-boo here unless there's somebody with, anyway. It was, somebody lived for a very long time or died and reincarnated. I don't know. But anyway, so Matthew and Amanda really want a plaque, and they both mentioned that. They're like, hey, any word on our plaque? So they want me to just go ahead and move forward. So if we can find someone to make it, I do have a shield that they can use and they'll pay for it. So anyway, I think it's a great thing just to keep it there.
If they sort of organize their own with your shield, does that come to before this commission, or is it just a done? Print it and put it on there?
Usually, I can't. Eric, did we bring those? Did we bring
Yes,
the verbiage to you guys?
We used to bring the verbiage before the commission.
Okay, so Bev, I bet we would do that because it would be in addition to the exterior of the house. So yes.
Well, that'd be good. We can catch if someone made up some tall story about their house. We can
write
catch it here and stuff.
Yeah, so we usually write it. So I usually am the one who's writing it. And using the inventory sheets. Sometimes we've made some tweaks. Eric's dug into a couple for me. And back when Sally Donovan was alive, she was one time, I called her and I'm like, Sally, this just doesn't make, she's like, oh dear. That one had a very fuzzy title or like trail of titles. And I'm like, okay, this isn't jiving. Anyway, so we can definitely do that. I think it's a great one to keep.
Okay, I agree.
Okay. The next one, keep the historic walking tour current, and it's in all formats. I wish Carolyn Wood was here today. I think they're still doing a hard printed form. And Sandy, I should have invited Sandy. So I think they're still working on their printed form, as well as you know, we did do that walking tour, the first one, or I think kind of a combination of the walking tours.
They had a map published, I think in October.
Oh, nice.
So I think there's a new one that's going to be coming out through the chamber and stuff.
Perfect. Okay. So I think that's a good one to keep also.
Yep.
Okay. This one I think I want to keep it. I would love if you guys also agree. This is one that Bob had mentioned a few years ago because we haven't really, we haven't had the connectivity to urban renewal like we used to have, or at least, you know, some reports that would come to you guys. We do have a new director, and I think Alice would be very willing to, you know, assist in helping get you guys up to date, providing it, whether it be through me and or if Paula can give an update. I don't know, Paula's gonna curse me right now, but I think that this is something we should go ahead and keep on here. And obviously we'll see how urban renewal, what turns out with the, the new board that was just recently, I think there was just Monday night that they were recently appointed. So we'll see what the direction that urban renewal is going, but I think it would be good to keep us apprised of their project's vision and goal.
No, I think that's great too, since they kind of overlap with the historic district. So.
Completely. Okay, and then the last one we have is increased communications with Main Street for all projects, vision, goals, and pertaining to historic properties. And I think we've continued to do that, so that has been a good thing. I'll share with you a little story after we're done about some communication we've recently had. And then one other one, Bob and I were talking this morning, and I can't find my notes, about adding, Bob, what were we talking about? What did we want to add as a goal for historic landmark that we
You
talked
didn't hear
about?
me mumbling to myself saying, I hope you took notes. I thought we covered a lot of ground this morning, and I
We
would
did.
have a clue which one you're referring to at this point.
Okay, so you had just talked about, and I said this would be a good time to add as a goal for Historic Landmark Commission. Oh my gosh. Holy cow, that's bad. That is so bad. Oh well.
Begins the memory.
Right? It's just so bad.
I'm here. What do you need?
Okay, well, I can't think of what it was.
Oh,
Bob,
I know we talked at great length this morning. That I thought, and then I had to drive downtown at some of our historic neon signs that are being placed.
Yeah, and I will give you an update as soon as we're done with the goal setting. So on that. So I guess, do you guys have anything else that you think we missed or that we want to add?
Yeah, I'm just cycling back to that the CLG training that was a couple of months ago or something, where they talked about communities doing preservation plans. And I was wondering if we wanted to pursue something like that as a
Yes,
goal.
Eric, thank you. Now that I think that was great. So Eric and I both attended. I think maybe a couple of you may have also stepped in and attended, and they talked about a preservation plan, and that, that's something, especially right now during this pandemic, is that we can get it set up and, work towards, I mean, basically it's kind of like a vision and set of goals, and, basically what we're doing right now, looking at what we need to do as a community to ensure that preservation continues in our historic community. So do you want to do that like short-term goals or prepare?
Yeah, maybe. And, maybe rather than, because that's probably something that we need to get a consultant on, right?
Right.
Yeah. So maybe.
So do you want to do like apply for a grant?
Yeah.
To have preservation plan or a preservation plan created for the Dalles, something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so, oh, she's on it. Paula's got it. Okay, that'll be good. Yeah, Curry pushed that too. She said definitely worthwhile. Okay. All right, anything else? I hear
Not that I can think of.
Okay. All right, Paula, thank you. Was that, once you got all the kinks figured out, were you okay with that? Did it feel all right?
Super awkward. I think my minutes may have suffered. We'll find out next meeting. Be gentle.
Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll close that part, and Bob, we're ready to move to the next item on the agenda.
Where'd Bob go? Well, there he is.
Did we lose him?
There he is.
Little boys' room.
Closer than it was up in this chamber. So, okay, sorry about that. What are we waiting on now? Me?
You.
Yep.
Waiting for you, Bob.
Well,
Okay.
if we've reached the end of our goal settings,
Yes.
okay, I think we've put a lot of effort into that, and I'm appreciative of all the input we've received. And Paula, thank you for trying to keep track of us over the Zoom. It wasn't easy, I know it wasn't. All right, we're to the point now where we have commissioners or staff people that have anything to say. Don't want to start out in a bad mood, but Don, if you got something you hinted around, you're going to tell us something. So tell us what you're hinting to.
So I don't, I can't say it's bad news. I'm going to say it is, it's just that some things have happened. So, as you may or may not be aware, the Main Street finally was able to erect all 4 signs that we have approved, which include the Jefferson Hall. And so here's it lit up, and this is them doing the installation. The Sears Company building, so this one's down on the Sunshine. And I
I'm
did see
sorry.
it lit up the other day. It was pretty.
Dawn, your screen.
Yep.
Can you guys see the screen? I'm not seeing it here.
I can see it.
Yeah,
I
see it.
can. Yeah, I
Okay,
can see
thank
it.
you.
So the Sears and Roebuck sign that went on the Sunshine Mill. Oh no. Computer just, I'm sorry. I got to reboot. It's this.
What?
Well, it's the unfortunate thing is that the city has a maximum time limit on your how long you can be on the internet or on your VPN. So
Oh,
the unfortunate part is it boots you off at 5:30.
Yeah.
Which then I always just reboot it and start it again. So anyway, okay, so let's see what's going on. Sorry guys, a little technical difficulty. Here we go. And back up. And there I am. Okay. Let's see. Can you see? You don't see me. Okay.
Not
Hey,
yet.
Not yet. We'll work at one more. Here we go. There it is. And here. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, there I am. I'm just gonna do a phone call. Okay, and close that, and close that, and continue. Sorry, guys. I have some cool photos to share with you. Let's get those back up. And there we go. Okay. So we went through that one. So here's some more photos of the Sears building or the Sears sign, and you can actually see it lit up. My daughter drove through the roundabout, was headed into town for something, and it was lit up, and she's like, "Mom, that looks amazing." So I thought that's great, because that's kind of what we wanted, is a little bit of an eye catcher. Anyway. Okay, so the next one is Dogs and Sons, and that is the one that is on the back of the Last Stop Saloon. So that one was erected. And then the final one, so here's another one. So this, you can kind of see how small it actually looks at a distance. They did not provide me with a photo of the illuminated sign. So this is the Flying A service. And as you know, it's on the Optimo Cigar building that you approved it on. However, it's erected on the wrong side of the building. Paula was sweet enough to send me a text one day and say, was this where we approved it? Well, she knew we didn't approve it there. So I reached out to Don Warren and expressed my concern. I started an email out with, we have a problem. And he and I played phone tag and finally caught up this week to go over my concerns with where it currently is. So what you approved, if you remember correctly, is to have it on the alley side. And And the point that we had kind of, I would say, what I sold to you and helped them sell to you was that this is an art installation and it needs to be off the beaten path, not on faces of buildings to the rear, to the back. So told Don we need, he has a couple of different options, and I asked him what happened. So he said they were on a time crunch, had to get it done. They were going to lose their grant monies and they had to be erected by, I think it was this week. So he said, unfortunately, everything else went fine until they came to the Optimo building, and all of the overhead power lines caused a problem in terms of getting this sign to be erected on the face, in the alley face. So he said he just made a decision and said, let's put it on the front. It sounds like he may have talked with, I'm hoping that they okayed it with Claudia, because I was actually waiting for a phone call from Claudia saying, wait, how'd this happen? But so anyway, long story short, I gave him 3 options, and the 3 options that I gave him were it needs removed and it needs to be placed on the face of the alley, and that I will help him have the conversations with the PUD regarding the lines in terms of, can we get it to go over here? What kind of lines would need to be relocated and or moved, modified in order to make it happen? His second option is that he is to take it off of the face, repair the face of Optimo, and then apply before the HLC to have it on another building in town, if he cannot get it to work on this location. And then his third option is that he apply back to you to have it in its current location, and make application or a formal application to have it on its current location that they put it, which was not what you approved. So I've given him, I need, here's a timeline for the next month's meeting, and I need to know how he's going to handle it as soon as possible. So he apologized profusely, said, blame him definitely, but he wanted to make sure, that you guys knew that we had talked and that he's going to be diligently working on figuring out what their plan or Main Street's plan will be for that site. So do you
I
have any
like that
questions?
sign where
Oh,
it
do
is
you?
myself.
Do you?
Yeah, I really do. Putting it around the corner in the alley, hardly anyone would see it. And that, I don't know, when I look at it, it just seems very appropriate there, for me. I haven't talked to Claudia about it. She hasn't mentioned anything about it being in the wrong spot.
Okay.
But maybe that's a dialogue she's having with you or somebody else. I don't know.
I haven't, and I actually, Doug, I expected a phone call from Claudia saying help or something went wrong. Can they do this? And Don seemed pretty assured that Claudia was fine, and maybe Michael too, that they were fine with the location of it. So I guess I told him was not comfortable to say staff would support it on the face, and that's, obviously that will be your decision if it does go on that face. But does anybody have any comments? Maybe is it a shocker? I mean, has anybody driven down and taken a peek at it?
Can I intercede here for a second?
Absolutely.
I don't think that unless they make an application, we can kind of discuss, but I think all this discussion should go to when the new application comes in. I don't know that
Correct.
we have the authority at this point when there's no application in front of us to say that's what we want it or that's what we don't want it.
No.
That's just me.
Right. No, that was not my expectation. I just wanted to see if you guys had any comments, heard anything. I was watching the Facebook page to see, the one that people tend to speak their minds, and I had not really seen anything regarding this. So I really haven't seen a real knee-jerk reaction that I maybe expect. And part of it was I was conscious of what was approved and CERN, and you guys very carefully approved these in locations so that they were not going to be predominant on the face of a building. So anyway, so that's where it is. So let's go ahead and we'll move on to any other comments that we might have. The only other thing I've got to share with you all tonight, and I'm realizing what time it is, so I'm going to bustle through here as quick as I can. As I mentioned before, with COVID, we are unable to have the brick repair workshop this year. So I have received a verbal or an email saying that we can still use that money towards expanding the existing historic walking tour that we had planned. And
Awesome.
the good thing about it is we won't lose that money. The even better thing is that we had talked about adding like a location marker on that new mural, the All Together the Dalles. So now with this money and the shift, Scott Stevenson and I have been brainstorming, and we've got a couple really cool ideas about expanding that app and making it much more interactive. And, you know, ideally what I would love to see is somebody scan the building on that mural, and that your phone recognizes it and says, that's the Baldwin Saloon, and it pops up the little story about the Baldwin Saloon. So technology is there. Do we have the money for it? Can I make it happen this round? Probably not, but we are working through some ideas, and it's been a really great collaboration, I think, and kind of follows suit with the All Together the Dalles. And we have all of these people that are true historic preservationists and or just love the rich history that we live in. I think bringing us all together so that we can save costs, share ideas, and funnel our monies together so that we can get bigger, grander projects is kind of what's coming out of this. So I'm pretty excited about and hopeful that everything will play out. So that's all I have for you guys tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
You're up in the corner of my screen. Have you got anything that has crossed you in the last week or month? Since you're a month different or 2 months since we met, have you got something that you would like to bring to the landmark or to look at?
You talking to me?
No, I'm not.
Who are you talking to?
She's on the opposite corner of my screen here. Bev, have you got any
sorry.
comments?
I thought you were talking to someone else.
Do you have any personal comments that you want to make at this point?
Well, I don't remember voting on those neon signs. I was just thinking, did I miss a memo or something? Was that a
That
meeting?
was
we had?
pre-Bev. That was before you.
Oh, good. I hope I'm not missing things, just a senior moment where I didn't see it, didn't show up. So, woo!
Yeah, we had multiple meetings on that. Yeah.
I was sidetracked thinking about that when you were talking, so I don't have a good answer to your question. I was pondering. So
that puts me pretty low on the totem pole, but that's
oh,
right.
Sorry.
All right, if you have nothing further, Doug, how about you? Have you seen something in the last 2 months that you think we ought to be interested in?
Well, I like the signs where they put them. The Sears sign and the one on Claudia and Michael's building. I think I was a little bit skeptical in the beginning about those, but I think they really look cool. I like them. The other thing I might mention is that there's it would be the northwest corner of the landmark. We had a gate made. There's steps that go up. I think they were for probably when the school was there that the kids could go up. And of course we had trouble with people going in and out. So we had a gate made, but people were still able to go sideways through it. So I took the gate down Monday to the ironworks and had them put a 14-inch extension going back towards along that brick wall. And so that I don't think they'll be able to go through there anymore. I think it looks good, and then that particular corner, the brickwork the wall was falling over and some of the bricks are gone. And so I'll discuss it with Victor, but if he won't get somebody to fix it, why, if he finds me bricks, I'll fix it. It really would look a lot better. So that's the only thing I can think of. Oh, the other thing maybe, we've been closed, the landmark, but there was a group from Portland, they're Russian, and they wanted to rent the building to do a video take, and they were there for 4.5 hours. And they didn't record the sound, although the girls were singing, but they had a lot of fancy camera equipment, and they were going to send me the whatever it's going to be on. I don't know whether it's Facebook or whatever. So some kind of interesting things going on,
Good.
even though we're closed.
Even though the world closed in a sense. Forrest, we missed you. Where have you been, boy? Have you got
I'm in California right now, but
open? I'm going to ask you a question, then you can start from there. You found time to meet with Eric so we can talk about the drugstore?
no.
Oh, all right. Well, go from there.
You know what? My grandmother, who works for the Civic, she was talking to me about wall dogs, and she said she was approached or messaged by someone from Wall Dogs and said, you know, we'd really like to use the Civic as one of the mural locations for when we come to your town. And she was really confused by it because she thought we felt she was in a historic building there. And she thought that would have to come before our commission. And, you know, I haven't heard anything about Wall Dogs since the COVID other than that. And I just wonder if they're still coming to our town.
So I do have an update on that, and I will, first of all, let you know, Forrest, you were welcome. We can, Paul reminded me of that. So, yeah. Oh, am I on mute? Can you hear me?
Part way,
Did you
but
guys
not
hear
enough
me?
to we mean anything.
Sorry. Chris,
It's lagging now.
Don,
So-
you're breaking up. Forrest, I think she just wanted to let you know that you're our vice chair once again, and you're welcome.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Now, no.
Okay, can you guys hear me now? No, maybe?
Pretty
Oh, let
iffy.
me try the internet. This is horrible. How about now?
Yeah.
Audio's
I
in.
can
better?
hear you.
Okay, so the Wall Dogs has been postponed for another year. And Forrest, you are absolutely correct. Any mural that goes on a historic building has to come before you. So this is kind of one of those cart before the horse, and they got really I don't want to say overzealous, but just kind of excited about potentially
Oh.
coming to town. Luckily, Paula had to notarize something for someone, and she's like, wait a minute, this is historic. So that was kind of our little red flag. So now I've received the properties and notified the Main Street, as well as I've talked with David Benko and said, every one of these properties that's historic is required to go before historic landmarks. So we actually have another year now, so it won't be any rush on our part. Obviously, be their concern. So yes, that you are absolutely correct. Your grandmother's correct. It needs to come before you and get approval.
Thank you.
Forrest, anything else?
No, that was it, Bob.
Good. Eric, now you're here. Don't fade away on me this time.
I'll try not to, Bob. I guess I don't have too much to report.
Yes, you do.
Well,
Don't start late. You've been up at the museum.
yeah, other than at Fort Dalles, a couple of weeks ago, there was a tree that fell and it clipped the surgeon's quarters and knocked the eave off the southwest corner. Luckily, it didn't break a lot. It just kind of knocked pieces off. So we were able to basically put it all back up into place. It did punch some holes into the roof as well. So I think Brown Roofing's scheduled to go up and repair the roof soon. And they're going to use, we had a lot of spare shingles from the last time that it was re-roofed. So I think they'll kind of weather in and match perfectly what's up there right now. So doing emergency repairs, we got a hold of Don and got approval for that.
All right, now let's back up a month. We want to give Loyal all the credit, but we'll let you have a little, and maybe Russ. But what have you done to the gardener's house?
The gardener's house, well, I don't know, we came before landmarks, what, a decade ago, or probably more than a decade ago, to get an exterior restoration plan approved. And so we've actually kind of gone ahead and put replacement siding on the side that had the siding removed or had the siding falling off of it. We got that wall straightened out pretty much, straightened out the door that was kind of out of square. And so that's all done. And so now we're going to work on just restoring windows and putting in windows where windows are lost or have been lost. So still a ways to go, but it's at least weather tight more or less now. So.
Okay, now you're missing. I don't know. I got to go up there and look and see what you guys are doing, and then ask you. I think you've done wonders with the jail windows or entrance ways. What are those? How were you actually labeled those?
Oh, so the guardhouse bars? Is that what you're talking about? They used to be leaning. They used to be leaning up against the pine trees. They moved those out away from the pine tree, kind of dug them out of the sod where they'd settled in, and put them on concrete footings down closer to where the bells are. And so we're going to attach some interpretive signs to those as well. In the process of remounting them and everything there, we found they're stamped with either the provider of the iron or the blacksmith that actually fabricated them is stamped into them. So we'll have to do a little bit of rubbing and see if we can make those out and come up with some more of the history of those items.
Now you're starting to make headway now, and
Okay.
I'm real proud of you. You're warming up to the task. I think you people have done wonders, and I'll say it probably is a big problem when you get rid of me to get started. After you get rid of me, you can do something up there. But nevertheless, it looked good.
I need to go back home, Claudia, and get the meat and the stuff.
Yeah.
This
And,
is just about over.
And I don't know if any of you have gone by the Chinese building, but the doors are now in place, the restored doors. So,
They look good.
and they have there's
Amazing.
kind of a removable shutter on them just to keep people from busting the glass out while nobody's around. But those just lift off, and with them off, it looks great.
I'll check that out when I get back into town.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I see that Doug's having the same problem I am. We're getting into the dinner hour, aren't we, Doug?
Hey, Bob,
Yes.
could I have another go? I just thought of something.
Well, I'm glad you're with me. Yes.
I'm with you. I just, a man named Mark Steiner rang last month, and he's doing a musical. He's right. I think he's a retired music teacher from Hood River or something, but Victor said he's really quite respected and renowned. Anyway, he's doing a musical on Ben Snipes, and he wants to film it around our house, use it for a background. So that's a little bit of history, something.
Oh, wow.
That'll be cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I'll keep you posted.
Don, I think everybody's had a chance to speak, but I've got a little problem, and I like to bring it to you people because I don't like problems by myself. Probably 30 years ago, I inherited a bunch of memorabilia of the man that was the spark plug to put the airport over Delport. And he was a car salesman for Walter Williams. And I thought I'd pass this information all out to good hands and somebody would utilize it and someday bring it out into something that was usable. Well, guess what? It showed up on my doorstep the other day, returned.
Really?
I haven't had a chance to inventory what might have come up missing. Eric and I was into this box of stuff. How many years ago, Eric? From a guy by the name of Leonard Cox. Anyhow,
Yeah.
when I opened this box up the other day, I drug it in. It was in the middle of getting prepared for Christmas. One of the first things I pulled off the top of the box was a telegram that was sent to Leonard Cox, 1926. And it just throwed me away. I said, what's under that? And I had to force myself to put it back in and close the box up. So I'm kind of open. There's a story here that I can provide only a few bits and pieces, but there's a real long story and a wonderful story involving a guy by the name of Leonard Cox and what he did for the city of the Dells and developing the airport over Delport. And so I'm open. Somebody come along and say, Bob, I'll take this. I'm going to kind of get a written guarantee that won't bring it back and leave it on my doorstep. 20 years from now, it's going to be a little bit out of the reach, but nevertheless, I haven't even really, and one of you wanted to come over some evening, we'll lay out a table and dump the box out and see what's in it. But maybe someone else can get as enthused as I am that I fell heir to this. And this is back about 1980 when I found it. And so consequently, it's been out of circulation for a long time, but it's still kind of just takes you back when you pick up a telegram. It's in 1926. And, hey, that's almost 100 years ago, you know? So, okay, I have nothing more
So
to
Bob,
say. Yeah.
just a question. Did Chuck Covert help facilitate you getting that back to your house?
Pardon?
Did Chuck Covert help get that back to you?
Yes.
Okay, because I put a bug in his ear. I thought if anybody's going to find that box and who had it, it's going to be Chuck. And I'm glad to hear that. That's awesome. I do have one last thing I forgot to mention. The plaques that you guys required, the little informational plaques on the neon signs, those will be installed in the next month. So those will go in there too. So, okay, I'm done. I promise.
Next meeting is scheduled for February 24th. If you got any corrections one way or another from that one, Don, if you had any applications that you know of,
No, but we may have one for a neon sign, maybe.
well, that stands to reason. And if there's no further comments, would you make a motion that we adjourn?
I'll make that
I'm
motion.
gonna turn you off. Huh? Thank
I
you,
second
Gary.
it.
All right.
Hi guys, so nice
Thank you,
seeing
Paula.
you.
Good
Bye-bye.
night, everybody.
Good
Thank
seeing
you.
everybody.
Bye, good night.
Bye.
Thank-
Talk to you later. Thank you.
Bye.